data sets?
Links are good.
Okay. So let me find it because I already had downloaded it. So I did one for Peru. That was the 2017 enterprise surveys. I don't have the links. I have to look for them again.
And you're able to download. You tried downloading?
Yeah, I downloaded it. I downloaded that. I downloaded Mexico 2010, Brazil 20, I think it was 2009. Colombia was 2021, if I'm not mistaken. And Chile with Chile, I don't remember which was the year that I downloaded. Now I'm just making sure that they're all um, or similar, or I can use them, actually use them between all of them. I'll be working that this week.
Okay, I'm going to look at what you submitted.
Which one are you evaluating, Professor? Assignment two or assignment three?
Um, oh, did I put the wrong date on this? Assignment 3. Uh, Hold on. I don't know. Why did I say Monday, October 3? It was Friday, October 3, right? Yeah. Typos, typos. So, okay, so I wanted you guys to work on your assignments for sure, but also identify databases because today what I want to do is go through the proposal, what I expect, and then look at your databases to make sure they're all adequate. So your proposals are going to be meaningful. Oh, and I was supposed to give you your pares. Oh my gosh, that's what I forgot to do. So pares. All right, so databases in the chat and pares. Okay, what did I decide? Oh my God, how did I forget that? So, um, I had a busy weekend, unfortunately. Okay, so Jonathan and Victor, you 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 would like to be together and I can assign you together. Is that okay?
Sí, por favor, profesora. Muchas gracias. Jonathan por aquí.
Okay, Victor. And then I have and Victor, you asked for office hours, so you can um ¿Cuándo está disponible? ¿Por la noche? ¿Por la tarde? ¿Cuándo?
Puedo pasar el jueves a la hora de oficina.
Ok. Y una hasta las 5.
Vale, puedo pasar a las 4.
Hasta las 4. Ya, estoy ahí. Ok. To be sure, between 2 and 4, pero estoy ahí casi like la 1 hasta las 5. Pero mejor decirles 2 a 4 porque sometimes I leave early, sometimes I arrive late. Okay, who else did I?
Y le iba a hacer una pregunta porque para la asignación número 3 yo hice los modelos en R. ¿Se podía hacer en R o no? O sea, las regresiones.
¿Hiciste la regresión cómo? ¿En qué?
En el programa de R.
No lo conozco, no. Yo quería verlo en Excel porque ahí puedo ver todo y
Ok.
verificar
Lo que hice
todo.
fue que lo
Lo
hice en R y
quería
después lo
en
pasé a AST.
Excel. Ok. Um, sí, porque es lo mismo que lo demás. It's to interpret, to have everybody so I can grade very easily. And also that you know how, you know the process. Demonstrate the process, what I expect. Um, okay, so Andrew, do you have any preference of who you want to team up with?
Nope, I'm open to
Like either I put you with Christopher because it's agriculture, or I put you with George who showed interest. Christopher, did you have a different body in mind?
Uh, I could go with either George, Andrew, or Katiria because all of their topics sort of connect with mine. Those are my three choices.
George or who?
George, Katiria, or Andrew.
Oh, Katiria. Oh, Kathy's here. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna put Christopher with Andrew. I'm gonna put George with Kathy. Is that okay?
Okay.
Or wait a second, because George wrote me. Hold on, let me see. Ah, no, I'll put George with Carlos. George and Carlos, sorry. I'll put George and Carlos. Is that okay?
That's okay with me.
Okay, George, Carlos, Jonathan and Victor, Christopher and Andrew. Okay, I have 3. I think I have Alexandra. Okay, then I have the 3 ladies and Karjit.
I was gonna be with Alexandra.
Okay. Okay, good. And then Annalore and Kathy. This looks good. I think this is good. Any objections? So the plan is that you're going to work primarily on your own research. You're going to prepare a proposal along the lines that I share with you today. And then your body is going to critique you. So hopefully through the process of the next few weeks, they will inform you about gaps, or they will help you to improve your work before the presentation. And then in the presentation, you cannot say, my partner did a great job, was 100%. You can't do that. You still have to find, because no research is perfect. You have to find what's missing. You have to find what's lacking, okay? Got it? Where are you guys, George and Alexandra? You're there in the classrooms? In the library?
We're in a place I rented in Regrabada.
Ah, okay,
They're
nice.
Yeah, they're very nice. They're big, and if we need to meet professor and you don't want to use the classrooms over there because the echo is really bad, the acoustics, we could meet here. There are two conference rooms that we can use.
Great, George. Maybe, well, if we want to meet, maybe we can book it. Anyway,
Yes,
I'm not going to be here for the next few weeks, so maybe it's going to be in November. We can talk about meeting there, and there'll be more stability then in terms of like things have been calm lately and in terms of the power. So that's in Lázaro, right?
yes. Second floor.
Yeah, okay. After at some point, it was really great. I really like when they started that, but then there was some damage after the hurricane and the pandemic. So anyway, I guess it looks in good shape right now, what I'm seeing there. So the
Yeah.
conference room can fit all of us?
Yes, this one can, but there's another one. There are two others that are much bigger, so I recommend going to the bigger one.
Okay, so then all of you can to meet, you can meet there. What are the hours? When does Lázaro close or when does it close?
It closes at 9, but they start closing at 8:45. But the
Okay.
Lázaro closes at 11.
Okay, so I'm happy about the pairs. Do you understand what I expect from you in general? So you're going to work on your proposal. You're going to meet routinely with your pare to hear what they're doing, help them narrow, help them stay focused, help them answer the questions that they're required to present. Your presentations are not going to be very long. We are we're eight. One, two, three, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10. Are we 10 really? We're still 10? 1, 2, 3, 4, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, it's always been 10. It's just some of the people don't come, so I'm not sure if they're continuing. So it's 10. So with 10 people, if you can make a presentation in 15 minutes and the critic is in 5 minutes, you're going to submit to me a PowerPoint presentation. But when you present, you're going to extract the main points to present it, highlight the key papers, key methodology points, databases, and feasibility. And you're also going to tell me where you would publish this paper. So you identify appropriate journals. Again, that's going to help you to focus in international business, right? You got to spin it for international business paper, journal. There's not that many in the ABDC, so maybe you're going to put it somewhere else, but find a journal where it's going to fit and present. And you don't have to say too much, but key points about why you're going to put it there and why it would fit the paradigm of the journal or the scope of the journal. And then also you're going to identify a conference. It's going to be in the list of expectations. So you're going to identify a conference where you would present this paper. You're going to give me a timeline of your work and the feasibility of the work. I mean, obviously you're arguing that it's feasible. So that's what you're going to try and put together all of this so that it's feasible. George, why did you give me all that information? To book the red?
No, that's because I don't have Carlos information, so I put it
That's
there.
for Carlos, not for me. I see now.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, share your contact information with each other. I think this is going to be great. I'm really impressed. I mean, I should never have high expectations because then I get disappointed, but you guys give me high hopes for what you're going to produce. Okay. So the assignments, what I'm going to do with the assignments is so that I'm going to share the spreadsheets so everybody can see what everybody's doing. All right, so the spreadsheet assignments I'm going to share, and it has the research question on it. How many of you are changing your research question? Okay, so send that to me or put it in the chat because the chat gets saved. So if you put it in the chat, I can grab it from there and make a note that you changed the question. All right, so that will be, so everybody has everybody's question and a literature review, and start knowing your partner's literature. But you got to be, you can't be too deep. You have to be focused on yours. But it's always easier to be a critic, It's always easier to critique rather than do. And we're going to take advantage of that. So I'm going to evaluate you for your presentation and proposal document and for your critique. And I put it here on Moodle. It's been raining and raining and raining and raining, hasn't it? It's raining again. It's incredible. All right, so you're going to get, yeah, it's 2 weeks. You're going to get 10% for the proposal. Which includes like the presentation and the document that you're going to give me. And you're going to get 5% for your critique. All right. And then the next assignment, then I'm going to give you a week to clean it up because I won't have too much time to make comments. I might make some comments, but I won't have too much time. Because we can do three presentations an hour at 20 minutes is 9. We might be short time. I mean, I think what I should tell you is it should be between, anyway, I think that's a really short period of time. But you should be able in 15 minutes to lay it out for me. Okay? And you should practice to fit it in the time. So I can get everybody almost done. There'll be one person outstanding and I can stay back. I mean, I'd ask you guys to stay an extra 20 minutes to do that. Just for morale, that everybody should see everybody else's presentation. So for that day, we're going to go over a bit. We'll see. Maybe some people will do the presentation in 15 minutes. Okay, so then the next assignment will be to clean up. You're going to do your revised research question. The next week, you're going to present your revised research question, your improved literature review. You're going to send me the literature review you did, but in a separate tab, you're going to have the ones for your paper. You're going to have different papers, or you're going to have the same papers, or new papers. Okay. And then you're going to also give me like an outline. I said a draft paper, but an outline. So you could use AI for that to give you an outline. You can put a really elaborate research question and ask for some sort of outline. And that might waste your time. That might waste your time if you know how to write, how to frame a paper. I will show you today the outline of the paper I expect, like the framework, like the outline. I don't know what to say. Like just the frame of it, the skeleton. And I don't think you can do the Excel. I don't think you're going to be able to do the regression models by October 27. That's kind of pushing it, but maybe just like a draft, okay? Like a draft of the Excel models you want to do. So at least I can look at what you're thinking so I can advise you. Do you understand? It's only 5%, but it's so I can give you feedback. You're not going to hand this thing at the end. At the end final paper is only worth 25%. It's the stages that I'm grading. Okay, your progress. So give me an idea of the regression models. So, at least 5 regression models. I'm gonna give more details about the assignments. I'm gonna put it in Moodle. I haven't done that yet. I have it down there, but I have to open it and revise. I have it already drafted. Okay, so you're gonna do all of this in 3 weeks. Yeah, it's really thundering over here. Oh, George changed his question and Alexandra changed the question, so it's there for me. Very good.
For me, Professor, the only difference is that I added the foreign direct investment, but it's pretty similar to what I had.
So you're going to do one model or several, like a structural equation model?
Yeah, I was thinking of doing a panel data, but
But one regression or like
I was thinking of one regression and then either do one with both clean energy consumption and FDI or separate
so
or do
this is
both.
the idea of you guys sending me the Excel doc with the suggested regressions. If you've run them or not, or because you know what, you're going to spend a lot of time organizing your data, I think, in the next few weeks before you even do the regression model. So I don't expect you to have them done. So this is just a draft. That's why it says draft paper, and it's supposed to say draft Excel doc with the regressions. It's all
Okay.
draft. And really, I am giving you until, okay, so then on the 17th, that's the day we can meet, and I'm gonna say it's called an oral exam. I'm gonna ask you some questions about your research. You're gonna give me, I guess I have to talk most of the time, and you're gonna have to answer. And then with your pare, they're gonna critique you again. You're gonna critique each other again. And then the final paper is supposed to be December 8. But if you need more time, I can add more time. If you guys just want to hand it in and be done with it, that's also good. And then I need all the same things again, the Excel document, etc. All right. So you guys send me your databases. So the only people who have databases identified are George, Christopher, and that's it. Andrew has his database, right? Andrew.
I have the ones that I identified in the assignment too.
Yeah, you have them. So I don't have them. They're public, or you have the data from?
They're most of them are public information, yes.
And you put the links on the assignment too already.
Most. I still have to add some links.
But is it straightforward to download everything and everything is there?
I believe for the most part.
And Karjit is going to use the enterprise surveys. Okay, so I need to know who else has databases. So who doesn't have? Okay, so I have only 4 of you have your databases. So one thing is to identify. Second thing is to how do you download? Organize the data. All of that stuff. USDA database. Have you entered it, Kathy?
No, sorry. Professor, it's a response to Christopher.
I was confused a little bit. I said coffee. Okay, maybe
Yes,
USDA.
yes, no, it's for Christopher. Sorry.
Okay.
That's a copy.
So what you guys are telling me are some of you have not identified the databases. Alexandra is going to use. Oh, no, you didn't tell me that. You're just telling me your question there. Okay. Christopher, did you make any progress with the databases?
I was working on the assignment, but these days I'm gonna finishing up the accounts. I'm actually as I'm looking at the Zoom, getting the codes for customs for T so that I can start using the USITC database. I'm exploring it right now, trying to become familiarized. But
uh-huh.
But I already determined the time frame that I'm gonna use for Unilever stock. Like when we spoke at the Bloomberg lab, it's gonna be up until 2021 because that is before they sold the share of tea to India, and then
Right.
I'll use the tariff data to sort of use that reference between the US and India and try to maybe use just two countries because
Okay.
time is getting tight.
Okay, very good. So anyone who wants access to Bloomberg or CompuStat data, let me know. I have to get you access. Kathy, did you get the access?
For CompuStat, no. Only for Bloomberg Terminal.
Do you want the CompuStat? Do
Yes,
you
I
want the
need.
words? But I sent the request, right?
Yes.
And we got nothing back? They didn't contact you?
No, no.
Oh, right. Let me see. Sometimes I send emails and they don't go. I guess he didn't respond. Did you try and set it up?
No, 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 no.
Because what you can do is you go through the setup and then it tells you, you create a new account and then it tells you that it's going to go to the administrator. So you have to go through the process in Wharton Words and then make an account name and a password, and then the request goes to the administrator and the administrator will authorize you. I'm not sure why he hasn't responded. So can you do that? You want that database, right?
Yes.
So
Wait,
so you got to go to the Wharton Words, just do on your computer, do Wharton Words
Mhm.
and create a new account.
Okay.
I'm going to write him too and see if maybe that's all you have to do because he's already authorized you. Using your UPR email. Okay. So if you want access, let me see. So anybody who wants access, just write me an email and I'll forward them. But for Wharton Words, just go Wharton Words, WRDS. Oh, good, Alexandra. So you have access. Yeah, I'm not sure what's happening. So Alexandra, you asked for access or did I send the request? I can't remember now.
I asked for access. It took about an afternoon before I got it accepted.
So you created an account and then?
It asked me what university I was from. I said Rio Freitas, and it sent it automatically. I got an email asking about it. I told them.
Okay. So that's the process, George and Kathy. create your account on Wharton Words, and then it will authorize you eventually. If
Okay.
you have trouble, I'll send the request directly to the guy. All right, good. Okay, so who else is missing a data date? The only person I see, okay, well, Victor, I'm not sure. Victor's databases and Jonathan, I'm not sure the databases. Anna Laure, that's the other one. Did you find your database, Anna Laure? No, tenga micrófono. Yeah, mute.
Sorry.
It's okay.
I found one in the Stanford, I think it's Stanford Law School, that gathers data from SEC and the Department of Justice. So I'm looking into that.
But you can enter?
I've so far I've been able to. I'm still trying to get the data, but I found they have data on that.
What variables do you need? What variables did you identify that you need?
How many cases of Foreign Corrupt Practices Act have been processed or at least identified, and how that, what I'm trying to get together is how to put that together with the foreign direct investment. If that in any ways.
So you're going to do it by state?
No, trying to, because it's the multinationals. So I'm gonna see what the where the most cases are from, which countries, and then try to see how the foreign direct investment is affected by that. So I'm still working, trying to.
But how would you connect the FDI to multinationals by country of?
Yeah, by country.
By country of the office, or of the headquarters, or of the multinational. Just like you're not looking at the whole. You're not looking at the
multinationals from the U.S. are being in a way convicted for the Foreign Corrupt Practices Act in what countries over the world, and to see if that affected the foreign direct investment. That's how I still don't know how to put that together, but I'm trying to find out.
Yeah, you got to find out what data you have, because that's going to limit what you can do. Did you check the words, the Wharton words? I don't know that we have too much SEC data in there though. Right, Kathy? There's not too much. I think Kathy was looking at the SEC. Maybe also in Bloomberg. So you need Bloomberg maybe too.
Okay.
But if you want a Bloomberg account, you have to come to Bloomberg. You have to come there.
Okay.
You create the account. You're busy in the day? You work?
Yes, and these weeks are hell because we're getting a change of command in my work, so.
Yeah, and you probably can't go there anyways. So that's the problem. Well, see it like with the databases you found. I'm just concerned because I can't help you because I don't know those databases. But if you got on, I can get on too. So anyway, if you guys haven't ratified what databases you're gonna use by next week, make a meeting with me so we can look at it. Make sure you can get your data, but I understand better if I see the data. I'm sure you will too. Okay, so just Victor, what databases will you use, Victor?
Aún estoy buscando como tal las variables para...
Let me see. Victor, what's your research question? Can you put it in the chat? But what is your research question, Victor? It's not on your Excel spreadsheet. You did not include it. I don't know what the question is. Where would I see this? And Jonathan, I don't have the question. So I don't know. All right, so it's let's meet back at 7. And we're going to do the review of what I expect from you for the proposal. And yeah, the outline and the details. Okay, so let's take a break, 10 minutes. Okay, so you've seen this already. You're familiar with this document. You worked a long time with it. So I just put a few notes in here. I'll share this one. So this is what you're going to use to make your proposals. Make sure that you've addressed these issues. Okay, these items. I'm going to add a few points of clarification. So for the problem, you must concisely state the problem, your research question. Any subplot problems or guiding questions that are imperative, you're going to include them. Demonstrate that you're going to be able to research your problem. And with the literature review, like maybe not right here, but with your literature review, you're gonna position the research question in literature and demonstrate that it's worthy of investigation. And then again here, right? So this is going to go, this discussion, this in your proposal or in your paper, your draft paper, this idea, the relationship between your problem and previous research will be mentioned in your intro, but elaborated in your literature review. Okay, so I'm going to share this document with you, but this is kind of where I want to see things, where they belong. Before I continue, I'm going to show you the structure before I continue. So anyway, just this document is important and the annotations I've made. And then another document. So I actually have a document full of notes I will share with you. You guys can look at it and we can talk about it next week. But it's kind of an overview of research that I've compiled from different sources. Give me a second here. This is the outline. And I'll reiterate this too in the assignment when I post the assignment. Okay, so this is your outline. You've probably written papers before, but to be completely transparent, you will have these are the main sections of your paper. Your abstract, your introduction, literature review or review of literature. I'm going to just call it literature review. Your methods or methodology. Your results, discussion, conclusion. And then the tables, you know what? I don't mind if you put the tables inside the document. It's common practice to put them at the end, but I don't like it like that necessarily. And if you want to put them inside the document, it's fine with me. Any appendices, you'll put at the end. I actually should have references in bold. And in the references are only going to go the papers that you reference. Some people don't realize that, but that's all that should be there. Okay, let me make this larger. So we'll just go through them one at a time, and I'll share these as well. So in the introduction, you're going to have the statement of the problem, the purpose, your research questions, and your hypotheses, but not so explicit. You're going to mention them. Well, the research question mentioned clearly, explicitly, but the hypotheses can be, it doesn't have to be count like one by one, right? Just lay it out that the research question is followed by your hypotheses. Then any limitations or definitions of terms should go in your introduction. Often people like to end their introduction with the last sentence or the last few sentences or last paragraph includes what's going to be in the paper. I mean, everyone's going to have the same. I'm not going to be so, well, I'll just put it in. Okay. The outline of the paper, a very brief description. In the literature review, you already seen what I expect from you. I think you're going to mention your search strategy, the databases you used, but you don't have to do a systematic step-by-step systematic review where you say how many papers and how many you excluded and how many you included and why and all of that. Just mention your primary search strategy, any variations that you used, also bibliographic search, and I think you can say AI disclosure, right? You're going to say how you used AI for your literature review. Then what you're going to do is you're going to describe the pattern of the literature review, how does it look historically? Now, how are you going to do that? Chronologically, you could do it by like in the 1950s, this was the belief. In the 1960s, this was done. So it could be chronological, but it could also be by themes, right? That's a better way to do it, by themes and historically how the idea developed. Or overall, this topic was researched and we found this many papers found this, these other papers found this result, this group of papers found this, and make it like a story, at least make it flow somehow of why, of what was found in the past. Now you could write thousands of pages of what you found. That's not the point. You want everything to point towards what you're going to do, right? With your research, how you came up with your question, reading the literature. If there's things that don't really fit in a general pattern, you include them separately, right? So there's other theories that kind of stand alone or models that you notice that you think are worthy of mentioning. All of these should be relevant to your research question. If they're not, they shouldn't be in your paper. Because again, we could write hundreds of pages of research results. That's not what I want. I want to know which ones are relevant to your paper. So far, you're going to have an introduction with some literature in it. You're going to have a literature review more explicitly mentioning and grouping and presenting the pattern in the literature. That's going to lead to the methodology of how you're going to pursue operationalized variables and what model are you going to test to explore or validate any kind of hypothesis you made about your research question. This is not really applicable. You guys didn't do a public pilot study, so I'll erase that one. So if you did a pilot study, that would go there. That pilot study is like, let's say you had a survey and you just did the survey with 20 people. And then you mentioned the survey and the findings that informed your methodology that you chose in the end. So you're going to mention your subject. So your sample size, right? Your data source. You're going to mention your models that you're going to use. Here you can also provide literature, because you're going to say such and such use this model, I'm going to use this model. Or these different authors use these different models and I'm going to combine them. This is where you mention what you're going to do. So that's where you're going to put your data source. Okay, then you're going to talk about the software that you used. It's customary to put a reference for your software. We're using Excel. Usually you have to mention the version. So like, the name, version, city, and states, or you can check and double check because that's how it used to be, but I think they might have changed it in the new APA, how they mention software. But usually I use version, city, and state. If you're going to use a different software, you can mention that here as well. I don't think this is going to be an issue about confidentiality because all of you are going to use a secondary data source, right? Somebody else collected, aggregated, and cleaned the data, presented the data. Here you can mention any kind of data management that you had to do. I should put that in here.
Professor,
Yeah.
can we use like Power Query or Microsoft Power BI for data management and data cleansing?
Yeah, you can mention that
Okay.
if you're comfortable with using that. Data management doesn't have to be software. You don't have to mention it's the statistical software that's the most important, like how you analyzed. If you use those to analyze, then put it in. But if you just use, whatever you use to store the data, doesn't have to mention. Okay, so data management, including any coding, and then operationalization of the variables. So the relationships you're going to explore and how you're going to use the variables to explore them. So,
Professor,
yeah.
in the case of the operationalization of the variable, I'm already having an idea for my regression using almost like a linear formula like we did for the assignment number 3. Is that where I would put that formula, or I would do that just for the regression model? For example, in my case, that I'm looking at historical data for Unilever to compare the historical contents of tea in the international trade. And then when I find the data from the tariff database, custom and USDA, when I'm looking at the relationship between exchange rate, tariffs, and logistics, would I be putting that as part of the methodology, or I would just use that just for the regression model?
You're gonna have to say that again, Christopher. Sorry.
Oh. No, I'm sorry. So basically, I'm having an idea as to how I will place my research question for the regression model, almost like a linear formula. Would I put that on the operationalization methodology? Okay.
Yeah, you put it as a methodology. Operationalization, you can put the model and then you explain which variables are going to represent each, like what data is going to be that variable, each variable. Okay. So you can put let's say, regression equations for each hypothesis. So here you're gonna explain your hypotheses, right? Let's see where I'm gonna put that. I guess there's fine. So you're gonna mention the subjects, your data source, data management criteria, and then you're gonna have the hypotheses and the regression equations. If you're gonna just do one and then hypothesis or hypotheses, let's put this here. Okay. And then you're going to take some time to explain the variables and how you assign them. So this is really going to be your conceptual model is what's going to go here, basically, like how you're applying or assigning variables from your data set. Okay. So you can mention your theories here and the conceptual model that you're going to use to test. Introduction. This is where in the intro, I've put your theoretical framework here, and your conceptual model is going to go here. But here you're going to actually show how the operationalization, which variables you chose to show to be in your equation. All right. So then, oh wait, any questions so far? So one thing is this might include lit review. It might not. It might not. Maybe you're just doing something basic and it's not important, but there might like I often use a model, a regression model style that's not common, and then I'll reference it. If you're doing logistic regression, that's pretty basic. You don't have to mention the reference. But if you're doing some other kind of regression model, you might want to reference it anyway. Okay. Any questions so far? Let me see the chat. No questions. No questions in the chat.
Professor, so we're discussing basically what you're expecting from us in terms of the final paper.
But also for, yeah, this is going to be for your final paper, but also for your, you're going to present it in your proposal, the models.
Okay.
Obviously you don't have any results, but you can present something so I can at least critique it and your body can critique it.
Okay.
Okay. So the models are going to come in the next 2 weeks. You can change them. Yeah, but it's just to get you going. Then your results. Always, always present your descriptive statistics first. Then go in turn from hypothesis to hypothesis. In this section, only present the results, not any, don't, oh my goodness, I slipped the word slip. You're not going to make any interpretation per se. You're just going to present the results. The interpretation is going to happen here. And here in discussion, you can speculate. Sometimes some authors put results and discussion together. But we're gonna separate them. Okay, we're gonna put the results here, and then the discussion will follow, where you're going to review the findings. And you're going to say, aha, in hypothesis 1, Callahan and Murray, 2017, found the same thing. Or you're going to say, Jeffries and Baines and Al found something different. So that's where you're going to start saying, I found something different than they found, or they found the same. So you can reference back to your literature. So also here, you're going to have literature review. Okay, so you're going to You can bring in new literature. Preferably you already mentioned it, but if it's so new or so separate from the broader literature, you can mention it after. Or like, because you would have maybe written your intro early, and then your discussion is of your results comes after, and you can start mentioning, you know, any new literature can go here. And this is your opportunity to reconcile any differences between your finest findings and the status quo findings. You can speculate, you're allowed. You can mention limitations of your work, explaining why you might have found something different. Again, that's kind of a speculation too. And then you can suggest future research. There always is future research opportunity. The conclusion shouldn't have anything new. It's a summary and maybe possibly some reiteration of what you had already and some recommendations. Because you're writing your paper, you know, for your audience who is international business, people in international business, you want to talk about implications for academia. You want to talk about implications for maybe for government. It depends what you're doing, right? So who is your audience? I don't know who your audience is, so it vary, but have implications for each. I don't know if that applies here so much, practitioners. I'll just leave it out. So academia, I'll say etc. Any questions about what I've done here? Is this helpful? So you know where to
Very
put
helpful.
things. So you don't repeat yourself. Oh my gosh, there's papers I read and they just repeat and repeat and repeat. No, it's try and fit things in one section. So that's a overall outline.
Professor,
Yeah.
do you recommend like for example, active voice and plain language?
Oh yeah, okay. So consistency. If you're gonna work in the past, stay in the past. This is very hard for me. If you're gonna work in the present, if you're gonna say, yeah, if you're going to be this author or the authors, you can refer yourself in plural. My convention is usually, because I work with others now, I use that a lot, and I work in the past. I just find it more intuitive because I already did it, you know? It's hard to tell because it's many months in the making, so it's always in the past. When you say active voice, what do you mean active voice?
It's just the structure of the sentence. You know, there's like you always talk about like el personaje principal, el verbo, the verb, and then, you know, it's like the structure of the sentence. If you have any particular preference, or maybe the journal, I have to check.
Yeah, you can um well, that would help if you actually found a journal and saw how they want it, but I usually just write it in past tense, and then I never hear anything about it. If the journal wants to change it, I guess they'll tell you, but I
Okay,
usually write it in the past tense
all right.
without effect. I was working on a paper last week, and it was hard for me because they were writing in the present, and I had to catch myself every time. So that's the most important thing that we found, or no, you know, we evaluated. It's all past. You guys can write it in Spanish. You can translate it to English. Now you have so many good tools to do that if Spanish is easier for you. I think they're very good at translating. You probably still have to review it to make sure it has the right meaning. But I need it in English because I can't read it as easily in Spanish. Oh, I mean, I could cut it and paste it and edit it, but I mean, review it, translate it, but I prefer you to do that. Okay, so that is a global kind of, so I'll put that up. You don't write your abstract till the end.
Okay.
Don't write your abstract. In the end, you write that. Okay, so because once you have everything structured here, all you're going to do is you can pluck sentences and put them in your abstract. It's fine. It doesn't have to be a whole new thing. Or pluck sentences, put it in your abstract, and then have AI maybe reword it so it's different. But it's better if it's the same. What is your objective? You want people to read this, right? You want people to read this. That's going to be when somebody reads a paper, and when you read a paper, you'll probably read the abstract, some portion of the intro, maybe peek at the methodology, look at results and the conclusion. So you got to keep that in mind. That's where you're going to put the highlights. That's where you want to take people. You want to keep them reading.
The attention grabbers.
Attention grabbing. So it's got to be relevant. Has to answer the question, so what? You got to make people care about this. You got to do something that they care about. Now, if it's something that is new, like filling a gap or something that's not been seen before, that's going to definitely grab their attention. Another thing to do is make it relevant. You know, how am I thinking about right now is if you do a paper, something in Puerto Rico, in Puerto Rico. So I was evaluating a paper last week and it was looking at CPA exam scores in Puerto Rico. And it was comparing the findings of CPA in licensing exam scores across all universities of Puerto Rico. And they wrote it in Spanish. And I said, why are you doing it in Spanish? Who's going to read this? Because it was a whole methodology to evaluate the quality of the performance or the performance at different campuses, insinuating, this campus is better than that campus. And this campus produces better students who succeed than the other campuses. So that is generalizable. Other jurisdictions in the United States might be interested in how they analyze that data because nobody did it before. Maybe they do it internally. They don't publish it. But this group wanted to publish for Puerto Rico because Puerto Rico, our University of Puerto Rico, Rio Piedras, has the best performance of all. So they're proudly, relaying, but they also wanted to prove that they are the best performance. And it's not easy to say, like how there's so many exams, there's so many measures. They produce a book, of so many pages and so many numbers and so many statistics. It's like nobody's even put it all together, but they did it. They put it all together and they created a methodology to argue that this university is better than the rest. Now, who cares about that? So what? Obviously the other universities here don't care about that because it's, it's kind of like demoralizing for them. But the other jurisdiction in the United States will. So I said, write it in English. It should be in English so that they'll read it. They're not going to read it in Spanish. Maybe New Mexico will, or maybe, California will, because they have a large Spanish population. And then they have schools with a lot of Hispanics, but write it in, and they agreed. And I think it's, you want to think about how you're going to get people to read this, get the eyes on your paper. So where is that going to go? Where are you going to generalize your findings? What's going to make a which section is that going to go in?
You mean the so what factor,
The
Professor?
so what? Where's that going to go in your paper?
I think it should go a little bit into introduction and then the conclusion and discussion.
It should go hardcore into your introduction.
Because that's what's gonna make them read. Like, I was thinking about that for my paper. Like, so what, the so what factor. And I'm looking at, the whole climate change, sustainability arguments to introduce that at the beginning and sort of get that potential, parties that are interested in that topic to come in and read my paper. And then what insights will it bring to policy or even the clean tech industry? How they can lobby if it's worth it or not, all that stuff.
So yeah, you don't want to itemize, definitions and terms and things. That's not what you want your introduction to be. You don't want it to be a glossary, right? This is where you're going to put the most important terms, not every single term, right? The so what is really important in your introduction. You're going to do your best to stick it in your abstract too, because that's the first thing people will read. And, in your introduction, it might go towards the end of your intro. So that's your opportunity. Your abstract is to bring it front and center. Okay. Questions about this outline? Any surprises, or this is pretty much, you already knew this? In my thesis, I had a great supervisor, and he wrote on a piece of paper. I think he printed it. And all he wrote on it was introduction, literature review, methodology. He put results and discussion together and conclusion. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sections. And he just put it above on my desk above my computer, and he goes, do this. And I had to figure it out. My mentors didn't say much. They didn't say much, but they were good somehow. Because when they spoke, it was like clear. I would make it clear. I would make it make sense. All right. So next, back to the Excel spreadsheet. Before that, I go there. So what I want to see for this proposal is all of this. And obviously, you're not going to have results. You might have some descriptive statistics. You can put them in there. You don't have to worry about these things. But maybe give me an outline. Give me an outline that what's going to go in there. Who in particular is going to be your audience? Okay, so I'll put this outline up. And I'll repeat what I said, I guess, in the instructions. Okay, so let me go back to the Excel. Okay, so you guys remember all of this. Literature review is organized, logically organized. So when you do your proposal, you're not going to present me the spreadsheet. You're going to create a like a PowerPoint or a Canvas presentation. And the presentation can have the headings of the ones that I just showed you, right? The one on the it can have these headings. If you think of other headings, make the headings. So intro, literature review, and here you're going to put 1 or 2 papers that are driving your research. You only have 15 minutes. So then give me your models, the key variables that you're going to use. And if you have something with results, present it. That's it. That's it. Okay, so that's what you're going to give me the PowerPoint. But in your paper, your draft paper, I want you to address all of these concerns here.
Professor,
Uh-huh.
for the first exercise we did, which was criticizing the seminal paper, do we have to do that for our peers?
So that's what you're going to do for your peer. Yeah, exactly. That's what you're going to do for your peer. So the way they're going to get that is from your, hold on, let me verify here. The program. I think what I'm going to do, instead of making it for the presentation, I think they can do, okay, so we're going to do the oral presentations with your proposal like I talked about, and then the critique, again, is going to be 5 minutes. So obviously you're not going to present the whole Excel sheet. You're just going to point out where the you know, the problems are, where you can critique what's missing, what's clearly missing. I think it's going to be hard to gather that from the proposal because the proposal is only 15 minutes. But what you can present there is in your conversations, you can present what you're worried about that they don't have, okay? Like, because I'm not going to see everything. I'm just going to see a 15-minute proposal. So you can present in the critique, well, in conversation, I realized that they're missing key papers and he hasn't incorporated those papers, or it's not clear, the methodology. I don't see how that variable is a good variable because it doesn't have it doesn't well represent you know, the relationship or something like that. That's where that's going to come out. So I'm going to leave that oral critique here for 5%, but what I'm going to do is I'll give you a week to send the document. You can send, or maybe, you know what I can do is, because the next week you're going to give me the paper, right? So you're going to give me the paper, you're going to give the paper also to your body. So what I'll do is here on this 20th, I'll just let you do a verbal critique. You can write it up and send it, and that's what I'm going to grade, what you say and what you send me. And you can use the items of the Excel spreadsheet. You don't have to fill the whole thing. But you should fill it for this November 17. Okay? So I'm going to put it here. This one will require that you submit the Excel spreadsheet again. Got it? Because I know it took you guys a long time, so I don't want to kill you. So that will come with this.
That's why I hesitated, Professor. I was like, am I giving her ideas?
No. I would have no, I didn't expect it here, and I wanted to tell you that, to be clear. For the
Okay.
20th, you don't have to fill the document because you're just going to you're going to prepare, they're going to prepare the proposal. You're going to see the proposal in advance, and then you're going to state your concerns to your body and then also in the class. And you have 5 minutes. You got to write it down. I'll give you, you'll get a few more days after the class to submit it. I can change this date. I said October 20. Let me see the calendar. Yeah, I can make it due a few days later so you can clean things up or whatever you need. All right, so
Professor,
then,
so for the oral presentation of the proposal, that would just be 5 minutes. The final one is going to be 15 minutes.
Sorry, the oral presentation of your proposal is 15 minutes. It's
Okay,
5
15
minutes for
minutes.
the pare to critique.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
The oral exam will be where you come back with your proposal and then you show me the results. You give me the results. So you're going to do the first. So there's 6 sections of the paper, right? Basically, for the first one, you're going to give me the intro, the literature review methodology. And then for the second one, you're going to give me the results, the discussion, and conclusion. Get it? So here you're going to give me what you found out. You might not be completely done yet. It's a little early. But you should have done something because it's a month from when you presented it. So you're going to present me what you found so far. And then I'm going to critique and then you're going to fix the paper. Got it? So I'm going to write down all these instructions so you won't be lost with everything I said. But that's how we're going to do. We're chopping it up. We're doing this step by step with feedback. Okay, so let's okay, so let's look at this one more time. So this is going to be your guide, right? That you make sure you check back and make sure you've addressed all these concerns. The theoretical framework should be in your intro, in your literature review, and in your methods, right? That's where that's going to come up, the theoretical and the conceptual framework that you plan to use. So we're going to talk about that too. We're going to have time today to talk about the theoretical and conceptual framework. And then your methods or your methodology, that's where you're going to show the operationalization of those relationships. So your research variables are going to go in your methods, any confounding or control variables you used. Your hypotheses will be with your methods and data section. Sometimes they call it methods and data. I'll just call it methods, methodology. Okay. So each hypothesis describes a predicted relationship between 2 or more variables included in each hypothesis. Okay, so your literature review should have summarized past research. Otherwise, gap in literature should have been mentioned in the intro, right? I'm going to share this with you, all these tips here. And the methods explains how you will test the relationships using whichever variables. The hypotheses logically flow from the theoretical or conceptual framework. So it ties back to the literature review and the methods. Okay, you're not going to sample, you're using a secondary data source, so you can answer these. This should be relevant. So what I'm doing here is just trying to tell you where this information is going. You're not going to mention the sample, the sampling, if you're going to mention it, again, you don't want to repeat yourself too many times. This is going to go in the methodology section, methods and data section. Now you don't have a research design. You're going to use regression. You're going to explain why regression is good for this. That's your research design. And you need to test. This is really important. You have to identify the assumptions of the model you're using, which are your regression models. And you have to mention the diagnostic checks. Did you guys watch all the videos or most of them? from the Z statistics. There's a lot. It's very dense. The video 7 to 10 mention the diagnostic tests of the assumptions of the regression model. You're going to have to do the diagnostic checks to validate your use of the regression models. So that's going to go there in the methods section. This is not relevant. I don't erase it because it's part of the whole rubric, but that's not applicable. Okay. We talked about internal and external validity before. This is really an important point of the generalizability of your results, your findings, how good your variables are at representing what it is you want to represent. I keep on speaking very very broadly. It's going to be easier if I'm speaking to you guys individually about this. So anyway, I'll leave this as important, and we can talk about it on a case-by-case basis, how that applies. And the so what. The so what I've said can go in the intro, literature review, methods, and data. I mean, that bit might be something that you repeat. That the other things you shouldn't repeat too much. Okay, but it should be there clear in your paper. And then the limitations, so what you can't do with your paper, and the delimitations and the things you left out. Okay, so this is not relevant because you're not collecting data, but I think here you're going to talk about the relevance of the databases that you use. That should be either, anyway, mentioned. And how can you validate, how can you assert that you use the right databases? Other authors used it. It's a premier database of information, reliable. Most of you guys so far that I've seen are using either government databases or long-standing sources that are valid. I don't know how applicable these are, but again, we can talk about this on a case-by-case basis, so we can look at that together. You guys can see me to make sure you have this if it's appropriate. Okay, so then your data analysis. So this is for the draft paper. This is not necessarily going to be done, right? Because you didn't do the analysis yet. So this is not applicable. I'm not going to expect that yet. Interpretation, not applicable for this. It's going to be applicable when you do your final paper. Oh, so what I want for you guys is that you identify a journal, a conference, and expert reviewers of your paper. How are you going to do that? Any ideas?
You mean like I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I was gonna mention in the case of my particular subject, I already know which conference or convention I could present this research. When it comes to expert reviewers, that's where um, I think it's gonna be a little bit difficult because they are, for example, like magazines or trade journals that are headed by um, owners or very reputable individuals within the tea industry, but they're not PhD. They're people that are expert, like talking about 30, 40 years experience in the trade. They they share panels, things like that. So I'm not sure if you're referring within academia
No, I want you
100%.
to find expert reviewers. And so one of the roles, as an academic, you're required to offer your services free of charge to review papers. So anybody, any group of authors that you've read already should be considered expert reviewers. You can pick a few. I mean, it doesn't mean I'm going to send them the paper, but the idea is that you identify experts in your area, because let's say there's some journals now where you send the paper and they'll ask you to give them 3 authors, 3 expert reviewers recommend, and they'll contact them. Okay, so I've been contacted to review papers because someone put my name. So you guys got to know who are the experts in your area. Okay. In terms of journals, again, this is supposed to be international business. So sometimes economics journals could apply. Comparative journals. And again, it doesn't have to be ABDC specifically. If you found a journal that's not ABDC, but it seems really appropriate, you can defend it. That's what I want you to present that day as well. Okay, so the journal, the conference, and the expert reviewers, you're going to provide that in your proposal, in your PowerPoint or your Canvas, whatever, presentation. So an appropriate journal was identified and a rationale for the journal specified. So you should be able to look at the scope of the journal and identify that they're interested in that topic. Okay. An appropriate conference to present the paper was identified and a rationale for the conference specified. So again, an academic conference. So I want you to familiarize yourself with the international business community and what conferences there are. Remember, your goal is to have reach, impact. It's nice that you want to do your little project, but you're going to be employable for your impact. And anyway, so that you want to know where you're going to make that impact. You're going to make that impact by publishing, disseminating your research through journals, but you also disseminate research through conferences and conference proceedings, because those get published as well. And that will have a broader audience, that they share your abstract all around and people see that. And your ideas get out there. You should also give me the abstract deadline. So you should find a conference that's actually coming up. Sometimes they want to have a paper, but some conferences for presentation, all they require is a proposal or even an abstract. Meaning you don't even have to have the paper to be accepted to a conference. You can just have a thought, an idea. They'll accept it, they'll invite you, and then, it's they have some money for PhD students to send you guys to conferences. So if you think I think you guys all have great paper ideas. If you guys can pull it together and find a conference farther enough out, You can send an abstract or even the paper if you refine it a bit. You can send it in. Sometimes even some conferences have money for students to bring you there. There's some great conferences where you go and they help you write papers. They have like a day where they do a workshop and they help students write papers. And they also have journals that give them a few spots for PhD students to publish. So those are the kind of conferences you want to find. Okay, and 3 qualified reviewers of the proposals, name and contact information. So this is what I expect from you. Okay, so this can go in your, again, obviously you're not going to put all this stuff on the PowerPoints, but I want these for sure. I want to see these clear. Students tend to skip it. Don't skip that. You're going to spend some time, you know, when you're just kind of lying around in the evening, maybe a few hours before you go to sleep, and just start looking for this. And think about just don't forget to do this. This is really important. Okay, any questions? So I'm going to put all that up for you.
Professor, can you confirm if the Bloomberg hours they were from Monday through Thursday, 7 till 6 p.m., correct?
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah, Bloomberg hours 7 to 6 p.m. Monday through Thursday. On Friday, it's 8 till 4:30.
Thank you.
Okay, what else did I want to do today? The details, the outline. We have the bodice. Oh, I was going to do the conceptual and theoretical framework. Do you guys want a little break? 10 minutes? Okay, 10 minutes. Take your. You guys went far away. Coming back? I just looked at the submissions for the last assignment. I didn't get them all. Who am I waiting for? Chris, George, Anna Lord too? So you guys need more time? Why didn't you tell me? I just had a chance to look now. You didn't finish. Okay, so, and I think Jonathan, there's 4 missing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. How is there 4 missing? No, 3. Oh, Chris is here. No, Chris did his. Chris, did you finish the assignment or do you need more time?
Sorry, which assignment? The models?
The last one, yeah, the models.
No, I was able to submit it. I had some questions regarding how to interpret the 8th model, but I was able to submit everything. It was more like doubts, but I put all that I could with the analysis.
Okay, so what I can do is I can open it, you guys, till Wednesday. You guys can fix it, finish it, because some people didn't finish. Too many. 3 is too many. 3 is 30%. You guys stressed all weekend for nothing. You should have told me.
I know, Professor. I'm sorry.
But you almost finished, or you have questions?
I mean, for me, this weekend was really bad.
Me too. I did nothing. I did nothing I was supposed to do. Not enough. Okay, so I'm gonna extend it. I'm giving deadlines just so that we finish stuff, but if you don't finish, let me know. Otherwise, if there's no deadline, you're not gonna finish it. You're not gonna wrap it up. But if you need more time, these are kind of arbitrary, these dates, just to get things done. So I can give you till Wednesday, so you finish, right? Are you
Okay,
going to be able to find time before Wednesday or?
I can find time.
Okay, so I'm going to write, Jonathan's not here, but I think he needs more time. Alexandra, you were fine, right? Kathy, you guys were okay with it? Karjit?
Yes, I was okay with it, Professor. I'm
Okay,
sorry, I had to leave where I was, so I'm in the car. That's why I
it's
can't
okay,
turn
it's
on my.
okay. And Andrew, you're okay with it? You finished
Yes, I finished and I submitted it.
in time? But you guys were supposed to interpret all the variables. I don't see that here. I just see that you just threw the results down. I need interpretation. No, 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 no. I need interpretation of the variables. I'm looking at some right now, just like the way I did it. You have to interpret the variables, the findings. I don't know that you understand what you got. So let me see who did it right. I'm going to show someone who did it right. If I don't find it, then you're going to all know you have to fix it. Nope. Still haven't found one that did it right. No, you guys got to do what I did. You have to interpret every variable, not just models and output. That's not it. I mean, that was part of it. Let's see.
I added a few sentences.
Alexandra, you are echoing.
Sorry. I added a few sentences, but it's off to the right in each model.
Carlos did something here, but he used something else. Why you make your life difficult? Just follow my instructions, you guys. Okay, he wrote a lot, so I got to read all that now. He wrote stuff. So Carlos did kind of what I wanted, but used RStudio. Uh-oh, something happened. It's not opening. I really am not happy with Microsoft Office from school. That's what I'm using, the 365. I don't like it. I don't know what it's doing. So I can't open Christopher's for some reason. Okay, now it opened, but I don't know why. Again, I don't know why. Okay, Christopher did it right. He did all interpretations exactly like I wanted. Very nice.
My only question was with Model 8. I didn't know how to interpret the intercept. That's the only one that I couldn't interpret it.
Okay. Okay, I'll look at that. And we'll look at it more next class. Okay, let me see Alexandra again. Jeet. I'm very good at, I don't mean to put you guys on the spot, but I'm trying to show you guys across the board. Okay, yeah, nice, nice, Karjit. You guys work really hard. I don't want to waste your time. But you got to do the minimum of what I say. Oh, okay. Okay, so, all right, so everyone who did not interpret, you need to fix those two now. Give you more work. Okay, but it's pretty good. You guys just didn't, maybe you were rushed. You didn't finish. So I'm going to open it till Friday because it looks like it's across the board problematic. Victor, what did you use here? F, you said? Software? I need your interpretations. This is not correct. So the idea is that I'm getting you to, like, you got to write, you don't, when you write a paper, you don't publish the output, right? You have to talk, you have to communicate your findings, and that's what I'm forcing you to do. You have to communicate in words your finding. You don't just dump output from Stata or, R or F or any software. You speak, you write, you express in obviously you're writing to an audience that can understand output, but you don't dump the output. You put a few sentences to explain the output. That's what you're practicing right now. All right, so I'm going to put it till Friday because it was so bad. Let me double check Alexandra's to see if she needs to fix anything here. Alexandra, you can benefit from using, you have very long cells. So what you got to do is wrap text over here. Let's share. Alexandra, to make it, so you did your output here. I mean, your sentences. What you can do is highlight the cell and go to Format Cells and say wrap text. Can you see this? Oh, this thing. You can't see what I'm doing? Alignment, wrap text. I'm forcing you also to work with Excel. Can you see what I'm doing? So yeah, you don't have such long. But I feel like, I don't know why. Okay, so can you do it the way that I did it? Like, why is it over here? Just put it down here and then like move it over here. Okay? That's where I put it, I think, on mine. Right under here. You don't have to put it on the right because it looks weird and then it messes up these rows. Anyway. Okay, so clean that up so I can easily grade it. Put your name on the assignment as well. Make sure your name's on it. And so everybody could use some extra time. Yeah, so Alexandra answered your question, right? Okay. Okay, so I think I already did this though. I was going to talk about the conceptual and theoretical framework. Did we discuss that or am I just having a false memory? We never talked about it?
We talked about it briefly when we were discussing this spreadsheet. You explained to one of the students that the conceptual framework was essentially when you apply the theoretical framework into your particular problem or your study.
Did I show you an example
Um,
with the media?
I don't remember. I don't think so.
I don't think so. Because I taught this class in the summer. It's kind of blurry for me if I taught this. Okay, so let's see here. Okay, so this is an example. I actually have the reference. Let me, okay, give me 1 second. I'm going to make a PDF out of this. All right. So this document is, like I said, a set of notes that I've used in the class before, and I want to post it, but I wanted to edit a few things in it and update a few things before I post it. So I'm just showing you excerpts of it for now. Okay, so this is formulating the theoretical framework, and this is an example. It's kind of a variation on an example that I got out of a textbook. So the theoretical framework of the study is a structure that can hold or support a theory of a research project. It presents the theory which explains why the problem under study exists. Thus, the theoretical framework is but a theory that serves as a basis for conducting research. It helps the research to see clearly the variables of the study. It can provide him with a general framework for data analysis, and it is essential in preparing a research proposal using descriptive and experimental methods. So here's the example. This thesis examines the gatekeeping, news selection, and reportage of world news in leading Puerto Rico dailies and primetime newscasts. So how would you begin to discuss what are the factors that lead to seeing a news story, an international news story in Puerto Rico periodicals or Puerto Rico dailies are like newspapers, and Andy, and I don't know, what are the other ones? El Nuevo Dia is very popular. And then there's, what else? What's the other one I know?
El
Yeah,
vocero.
now,
Okay, Vocero. And then all those, the television, right? The television is big in Puerto Rico, I've noticed. And so how does world news end up there? I mean, there's infinite news. News is constant. It's all the time, but they filter a lot out. So what exactly ends up there? And I know, you don't get Canadian news here too often. You don't get, you don't get Italian news. You don't get things that are happening necessarily in Argentina. You don't get, so how is that determined? What news you guys get? So
Wait, oh,
there's actually theories in communications literature. There's theory regarding the news. And one is Quayle's theory on media, that the institution takes into account all forces that affect media's performance. So this is Quayle's theory. And it's referenced in this article. So what do we have here? Can you guys see this? Do I need to make it bigger? So the media organization is comprised of, the influence from the owners, the influence from the advertisers. So, depending on who's putting money into, to get advertising, it's going to influence the news that gets created. Any advocacy groups, the current culture, their influence, so special interest groups who have influence, the government in power at the time, then the consumers, the audience, or any investors. So these are all going to influence the news that we see, who these players are. Okay. Basic theory number 2. This is selective gatekeeping. So these authors, Goltung and Rouge, have a selective gatekeeping theory that suggests that news from around the world are evaluated using news values to determine their newsworthiness. So it's actually not all of these influences. It's actually, so this theory is saying that the world events influence media perception, but then that gets filtered by news values. What could be an example of that? So the producers of the news are going to have their own value system. So that's kind of different, right? There's gatekeeping, like actually who's conducting the news is ultimately going to filter it all out and present a media image. So they have a certain, okay, and that could be, those values could be influenced by the advertisers. Those values could be influenced by the investors, longtime investors. Okay, and the owners. So this gatekeeping feature puts them at the end, right? So they ultimately decide. Then there's a third theory. So these are separate theories that then we're going to combine. Malcolm McComb and Donald Shaw's theory simply states that the issues given most attention by the media will be perceived as the most important. So it's kind of self-fulfilling. So if there's a story that gets lots of media attention, it's going to be perceived by the public as more important. So it, in turn, it's kind of cyclical, right? So it creates, anyway, so the media is actually influencing what's important to the public. And then that gets reinforced that the media is going to produce more on that story. So, Ukraine, Russia, Gaza, when there's a lot of other things going on in Somalia right now that doesn't get a lot of attention. I don't want to be too graphic, but there's a lot,
or in the
right?
Congo.
Or in the Congo right now, right? That people aren't getting news about. So the public doesn't perceive it as important, and then it's reinforcing that the media is not going to cover the issue because the public is not looking for it. So it's kind of reinforced there. And okay, so now we have those three theories. And why am I showing you this? Like in general, this is just an example that maybe you can even think about. Just to be more general, because we're doing a quantitative paper in this class, but you know, for your thesis, it's often that what we've been doing for a thesis in the doctoral program is you produce a thesis with 3 papers. And it's often the case that 2 of those papers are empirical, but one of those papers doesn't have to be empirical. It can be like, it doesn't have to be quantitative. It can be more qualitative. You can conduct a survey or a extensive literature review for that third paper that you combine into a thesis. And for if you want to do something more qualitative, this is just trying to show you here the approach that you would use, right? So those 3 can be combined like this. Here's the gatekeeping. Gatekeeping influences the agenda that produces the media content, but the media environment influences the media organization, which in turn are filtering and selecting the news to meet a certain agenda. So anyway, this is combining the three theories. And then you got to think about with this. So this is the beginning of my conceptual framework. I combine three theories into one. And then I start looking at where am I going to collect the data to test this hypothesis here about the gatekeeping, or there's like, several hypotheses here. So the integrated theoretical framework shows how media content is shaped by pressures to the media organization. The media organization then created becomes the gatekeeper and does the selective gatekeeping and agenda setting. Based on the foregoing example, how should the theoretical framework be formulated? No. Based on the foregoing example, how should the theoretical framework formulated first specify the theory used as basis for the study, mention the proponents of the theory, cite the main points emphasizing the theory, supports his exposition of the theory? So these are all important to reflect in the theoretical framework. So again, this is for Puerto Rico. So you can actually identify the media environment. You can identify the media organizations, the gatekeepers, the agendas. You can actually identify and either conduct interviews, collect data in that way. So here I'm starting here to do the conceptual framework. While the theoretical framework is the theory on which the study is based, the conceptual framework is the operationalization of the theory. It is the researcher's own position on the problem and gives the direction to the study. It may be an adaptation of a model used in previous study with modifications to suit the inquiry. Aside from showing the direction of the study through the conceptual framework, the researcher can be able to show the relationships of different constructs that he wants to investigate. So I'm going to put some more specific terms, or I'm going to identify variables. Pressures and constraints are the media environment. I'm going to be very specific. Newspapers, television newscasts are going to represent the media organizations because they're, what's media? I didn't put social media. I didn't put, I stuck to television newscasts, not social media podcasters, very specific. Then use values. So we can go to those actors, we can go to those journalists, or we can go to the editors. We can go to, we can go to specific individuals in this environment or in these organizations to learn about news values. So we can interview. And then we can identify, we can observe over some period of time, we can frame it and observe, what are they reporting? What are the stories? What countries? What are they leaving out? What are the topics? What are the issues? And so news values, pressures, and constraints shape the newspapers and television newscasts, the results of this relationship in selective reporting of events. Oops. I keep on clicking on things. This is all because I'm in Copilot and it just so distracting. Okay. Okay, even more specific. Here I go. The environment now, the media environment, owners, policies, advertiser, audience, and groups. I'm going to refer to those as my media environment. More specifically, here are the newspapers and the telecasts, the television programs that I'm gonna focus on. Foreign news sections, segments of Puerto Rico's Caribbean news, El Nuevo Dia and Primera Hora. Those are the ones I pick. So let's say those are the ones I can get interviews for. So I'm just going to stick with those, okay, to be specific. So that's media environment, that's media organization. These are the, oh, now I have to go back to see. Oh, gatekeeping. The gatekeeping is the criteria in selection of foreign news and priorities in coverage. So I'm going to find out what those are. That's going to be the gatekeeping. We're going to, oh, what was that one? Sorry. Agenda setting. So identify the unequal treatment of foreign stories, agenda setting. And then this is what is reported. So these are the things I've identified that I can capture to reflect, and I'm using the three theories, combining them, and this is what's possible for the in the context of my paper in Puerto Rico. My article, I'm going to focus on Puerto Rico and these specific things because this is where I can get information. So, operational framework. Foreign news sections of Puerto Rico newspapers, foreign news segments of television newscasts are shaped by the interests of the owners, editorial policies, audience, and advertisements. The criteria for selection of foreign news and news values also affect the foreign news coverage. These factors result in unequal treatment of stories and pave the way for the dominance of some topics and some regions in foreign news coverage of data. Based on the foregoing example, how should the conceptual framework formulated? Number one, cite your conceptual framework or paradigm, identify your variables, point out the dependent and intervening variables, and show direction of the study. Anyway, I can share this with you guys. Was this helpful?
Yes.
So for your models, you're going to identify the theories to support why you pick certain variables that you do pick. So you're going to explain those in your intro, and then you can reiterate, well, you're going to mention them in your intro. You're going to show the research in your literature review, and then in your methods, you're going to illustrate how in your either your hypothesis is going to reference those theories or a combination of the theories represented in your hypotheses, and then you're going to show me the models and the direction of the variables. How you expect that independent to be related to the dependent. It's going to be easier than this whole process because we're doing this quantitatively. We don't have to do interviews. And if you guys spend the next week, making sure you can get the data and see the variables that you have accessible to you, you're going to have a better chance of making those models, setting those up. They can be modified, this is just a proposal. You can change anything, but I really want it to be feasible. So you should be able to identify your variables before you commit to running certain models. Okay. All right, it's 8:45. We did a lot today. I'll share with you those documents. I'm going to extend for you assignment 3. I want a couple of you to send me I don't know, you're not you guys, but the other guys who left, I still don't have the research questions. What else? And I'm going to put up the next assignment due, what I expect, like we talked about. Any questions for me? Everybody knows their body?
Professor, do you have my body's information? So I think he left the class. I don't know if he's.
Carlos?
Yes.
Oh, he didn't. Okay, I'll send you his email. Does
Okay.
anybody else need anybody's email? Everybody else is good? Okay, so George, I'll send you that. All right, you guys, keep in touch. Let me know how it's going. Make meetings with me if necessary. I'll be in the lab. So I'm leaving to Canada on Friday. So we can meet virtually if we need to anyways. Okay, and if you need anything, the words, the Bloomberg, just let me know. I'll get you guys access in there. All right, so we'll see you next week, but we'll be in touch. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Professor.
Thank you,
Bye.
Professor. Have a good night.
Thank you, team.
So, Professor, for the assignment 3, so in my case, I don't want to keep spending so much time on it because I believe I got it right. So I'll just re-upload it. I don't have to go over it again.
No, if you finished it, you finished it. It was good. Wasn't it good?
Okay, because I don't wanna keep spending more time on
No,
it. I
I
want
think
to
you
get
did
to the
great.
data.
Everyone else, I mean, I should give you extra points for finishing
No.
it on time. That's good.
And the assignment 3, the interpretation is necessary for the all models.
For the variables, yeah, of all the models.
Okay, okay.
You can do it, right? Just like do
No,
it where I
I
did
need.
it. Nobody did it except for like Christopher and Alexandra, kind of. So you guys have to do the. You can't just give me the result. You have to interpret
Yeah.
the findings, just for
I know
practice.
interpret the all concepts and variables. No, I'm not interpret.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Let me know if you have if you need any help.
And Professor, before you go, I know you're not on the university on Wednesday, but on Wednesday I'm free, so I want to go to Bloomberg and get the data. I can go by myself, right? I don't need to have
Yeah, no, you
someone
don't
there.
need me. You can go by yourself.
Okay.
If you need help, you can call Bloomberg too. You can
Okay,
call
perfect.
Bloomberg or you can email Bloomberg. Anyway, let me know if you need anything.
Perfect. I'll be there on Wednesday and Friday to get my data from Unilever. Thank you.
Okay, I hope it's easy.
Yeah, looking forward to it. Bye.
Okay, bye.
Professor, I've forward email for follow my access to Campus Tab.
Okay, good. So you made the account?
Yes, with you. 2 weeks ago.
Okay, so you sent it to me now.
Yes,
Okay, so now I'm gonna forward it to the guy then. Let's see what happened.
Perfect.
Okay, perfect. Okay, bye.